Are you looking for a podcast coach, but you don't know where to look or where to start? You came to the right spot. Let's talk about it. What's up, pod influencers? My name is Ozeal, and I want to welcome you to the Podcast Influence YouTube channel, where I help you amplify your influence with podcasting. On this channel, I'm going to share with you tips, insights, and strategies on how to pro up your podcast with style and influence. And today, the question: you may be looking for a podcast coach and you don't know where to look. So you came to the right spot, because today I'm going to give you 3 tips, my friend. 3 tips. Tres. To help you find a great podcast coach. All right, let's dive right in. Tip number 1, examine their track record. You know that saying, there's proof in the pudding? Yeah, you got to make sure there's proof in the pudding, in the podcast pudding, because you got to see if they're the real deal. You know, so do they have a podcast of their own? Are they creating online content? Do they have a background in podcasting? There's a lot of people that learn the basic, a lot of coaches now that are launching a podcast within 6 months, and then they're calling themselves a podcast coach simply because they want to make money and see an opportunity to do that. That's just a whack way of going about it. And that's definitely not a podcast coach candidate. Make sure that you check out their content online. Make sure you're vibing with them, that they have a podcast. Does it sound professional? Do they know how to conduct a proper podcast interview? Really take a deep dive into really understanding the work they do and what they represent. Again, if they have a track record of experience and you are vibing with their style of teaching and they're creating free educational content like we do here on Podcast Influence, then you can definitely look into hiring them as a podcast coach. But I believe in making sure that there is proof in the pudding and you are doing your research and you know that they're the real deal and they have been doing it for quite some time before you decide to invest. Tip number 2, ask about the outcomes. Most podcast coaches and experts out there will give you the foundational understanding of how to launch a podcast. The remarkable podcast coaches are the ones that dig deeper into your reason, your why into starting that podcast. For example, my team, we believe in helping you humanize your leadership and create a belief system that is aligned with the value you are trying to provide with your client. That's what we are about. It's not about helping you launch a podcast. And normally when I hear and see podcast coaches say, hey, I can guarantee you launch your podcast in 2 days or something, it's whack. It's phony, it's basic, it's cheap. It's just not the way to do it. And if that's what you want, then hire. There's a plenty of coaches out there that will help you just launch a podcast. What you need to look for is a podcast that has a belief system that goes deeper than just launching a podcast, that has provided results for clients, and that really understands the goals and the brand and a real strategy on how to communicate their value to their audience. If you just want to go basic, ton out there, but if you really want a great coach, that is something to look out for. So make sure that you ask somebody you're looking out for. If you have a potential podcast coach you're looking to invest in, ask them about the outcomes and their belief systems. You'll learn a lot about what goes on here in their mindset and their approach to podcasting. Tip number 3, you might not expect this one, but trust your intuition. Trust your gut feeling. Trust your intuition. Let that be the compass that will help you decide who you should hire for your podcast. Now, I get asked this a lot. Do you need to hire a podcast coach to help you launch your podcast? And the answer is no. You don't need to hire a podcast coach. However, do I feel and believe that a podcast coach can help you avoid the common mistakes that a lot of the new podcasters make? And trust me, there's a lot of them. Absolutely 100%. There's a lot of things that Coaches Period can help you expedite your success and expedite the whole process versus you going on YouTube, searching all this content. You check out my YouTube channel, you go a different other YouTube channel, and you go on Google and you start reading blogs and you listen to podcasts, and everybody will have a different method, a different belief system. And what that will do is that will only, paralyze movement, paralyze your action. You're going to be in here instead of taking action and executing on launching your podcast versus getting a podcast coach who supports you, who you feel like understands your brand, your mission, your goals, your why, and then helping you step by step put together and craft together this amazing podcast that will be embraced by your niche, by your audience. So I think, there is a track record, that you should look for, everything that I mentioned in the belief system, but ultimately it comes down to your intuition. Does your podcast coach make you feel supported? Do they make you feel rushed? Do they feel like they're just in it for the money? Are they confused? Trust your intuition. Jump on a discovery call, ask them some questions. And at the end of the day, you will know whether or not this podcast coach is worth your time and investment. So that is my big tip for you, is trust your intuition. All right, hope you enjoyed today's video and it has helped you think about different things to look at in regards to hiring a podcast coach. I do see a ton of value in getting a podcast coach to help you step by step. A lot of us, this is our first time, maybe your first time launching a podcast. There are a lot of moving parts that goes into creating a successful podcast. And I think having a podcast coach who understands brand, who understands your why, your purpose, and helps you craft a podcast strategy, pre-launch strategy, to make this a successful podcast journey for you. I think it's valid, and I think it's something that a great podcast coach should be able to help you with. So if you are interested in hiring a coach, I'm going to raise my hand. If you want to jump on a call, a 15-minute discovery session, I'll post the link down below. Listen, let's jump on a call. You can ask all your questions, and I will also help you decide whether or not a podcast is the right thing for you to launch or not. It may not be the right thing to do right now, but I will help you and be completely honest with you during this call. So leave it in the comments section down below. Let's book a session, and I will love to have an opportunity to speak with you in person. All right, or actually virtually, but you know what I mean. All right, book it. Hope you enjoyed this session. Thanks again for tuning in. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. I'm trying to grow this channel. I believe that there's a ton of great value. Share it with your friends and family and everybody on social media. Hit the notification button to be first in line for all the weekly content. And thank you so much for your support and love. Leave me in the comment section what you thought about this video. And if you're considering, hiring a podcast coach, and if you have hired a podcast coach, what are some of the benefits that you have seen, that you have gotten from having somebody coach you through the process? We'll love to hear from you. My name is Ozeal, signing off. Peace and one love.